Okay, so annoyingly, I was too late to catch the start of Godzilla, so I ended up seeing X-Men DANK Phoenix instead. The X-Men films were never reliable in terms of quality assurance, in my opinion. The first two were great for their time and haven't aged terribly, but I don't really feel the need to watch them these days. First Class breathed new life into the franchise, only for Days of Future Past to suck it right out again. And basically I feel like the mainline X-Men movies have been a nebulous haze of mediocrity ever since. But every so often they have to be total pricks and inconsiderately make a really good one like Logan, so I can't just write off the franchise completely. Having said that, since Future Past there hasn't really been much of a continuity worth following, just the odd few details here and there that are largely ignored between movies until they're not. So with suitably cautious expectations, X-Men The Last Stand DANK Phoenix. Without going into spoiler territory, this is an X-Men movie, for good and for ill. You know whether or not you like these by now. I'm sure it'll have its fans, but since everyone knows Disney are just going to hit the reset button in a few years, if that, there's really very little reason to be invested in this. Anyway, while it might just make top half for an X-Men movie, taken strictly as a piece of cinema, it's still not very good. Sorry, I wanted it to be better too. If you can manage to turn your brain off and ignore the fact that the story just kind of is without much explanation as to how it got there, you might have a good time. There are a ton of characters in this movie, each with a fair few character beats, which would be great if more than maybe 3 of them made any narrative sense. But the plot is a mess and the characters follow suit, even more than usual. I always really liked this cast for the X-Men, and my favourite has to be Michael Fassbender as Magneto, so it's great to see him again. And incidentally, he's looking great for someone who canonically would be in his 60s by now, but I don't think we're supposed to think about that. The writers certainly didn't. As for the rest of the plot, it goes 8 ways crazy with what I imagine are supposed to be surprising twists, but just come off as happening because the plot needs them to happen. As I said, very few of the character beats make any sense, and partly because of that, the scenes that are supposed to evoke emotion fall kind of flat. The acting is good, but the writing's too hard to sell for me. One positive thing I will say though is that DANK Phoenix has some of the better action sequences in the series. I don't know if I'd say best, but the fight scenes are definitely top half for me. Even if it's hampered some by, at times, questionable decisions therein, they'll probably all be up on YouTube in a week or two, so if you just wanted to see the fight scenes, I wouldn't blame you. X-Men DANK Phoenix is a tonally confusing narrative mess with a few good action set pieces thrown in. Every actor involved deserved better, and frankly, so did we. It's a 4 out of 10 for me. I wasn't bored, but that's about the best I can say.